Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Heart of Innovation. From spotting care gaps as a chiropractor to co-founding GrubMarket, now a $3.6 billion publicly traded company, Dr. Robert Nathanson's journey exemplifies innovation at its finest. After his early success helping to connect farmers directly to consumers through a digital marketplace, Robert's life took an unexpected turn, however, when he faced his own health crisis, blocked arteries in his heart, requiring medical intervention. He's here to talk about all of the twists and turns so far in his life, including his award winning effort to get his health back on track. I can't wait to share this story of Robert Nathanson. He's one of my nearest and dearest friends here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So, Dr. John, I'm excited for you to meet him.
As am I. I'm looking forward to not only hearing about his entrepreneurial passion and stories, but also evidently he's a mean pickleball player. And I was just down in the Villages in Florida visiting my wife's family, and they pay a lot. They play a lot of pickleball down there, and it gets pretty competitive. So I need some tips and tricks. But I wanted to share this with you, Kimberly, because of our wonderful. Can you see this? This is from our wonderful hosts or our sponsors. This is Spirit from
Oh,
Reflow
no way.
Medical, right? So when I went to their national sales meeting, they gave me a belt buckle because it was down in we were in Texas outside of Dallas, and it was like this theme, Texas, like a cowboy theme, which I didn't have a hat or anything, but somebody gave me one of those whatchamacallit, the bar, what I forget the name of it, that little tie thing. And I got the Spirit thing. But so thanks for Reflow Medical or for sponsoring the show. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really excited to actually see Gunter Haynes and Kristen, who are with Reflow Medical at the OAIS conference. This week, I'm headed to Orlando to learn all about the new vascular innovations that are being used in office-based labs.
If there's something new, please tell me because we've been rehashing things over and over for the past many,
You know
many
what?
years. But we're all about innovating here.
Well, I did hear that there is a drug-coated balloon with sirolimus that is making some headway. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that very, very, very soon in our
Yeah,
next spur of the moment or spur of
definitely.
innovation segment that we get to.
Indeed.
So yes, okay. But I think in this spur of the moment, it's about time we introduce our amazing guest. It's Dr. Robert Nathanson. Thank you so much for being here, Robert. I don't know if we should go into our whole history of how long we've known each other, but
Should
forever
we
and ever.
inspire Robert? We should try to inspire Robert, though, right?
Yes. Oh, and so I thought your spur was like the
No, no, no,
moment.
no, no. This is like,
Craziness.
could you see me wearing a belt buckle like this though? Can you see that in on our YouTube? Yeah, it's a big belt buckle. I don't even know. Like, do you have to buy a piece of leather to then fashion that on a belt, or how
That's
does
what
this
I'm
even
wondering.
work?
You have to get someone who's probably one of the, like a leather expert to go ahead and do that for you. But next time I see you this summer, the next conference, I expect you to have that all fitted.
Yes, indeed. I will do my best.
Okay, without further ado, it is time for a moment of inspiration.
All right, so I wanted to find an inspiring quote from the late Pope Francis. We Kim and I are very, I think, honest on the show, and often religion comes in, and I'm a practicing Catholic. Do my best, but got a lot of faults. But anyway, so I thought this was kind of a nice, heartfelt quote from our late Pope, and he said, "Let us learn to live with kindness, to love everyone, even when they do not love us."
Actually, I think that that is the perfect quote for Dr. Robert Nathanson because as long as I've known him, he is one of the kindest souls I've ever met. And I've seen so many people take him for granted. He gives and gives and gives to whomever. He's one of the most charitable, most generous people that I know. And it's been incredible over the years to see all he does for others. He has that whole philosophy of service above self. And I've never heard him say no to anyone for anything. And yet people would say no to him all the time. And that's what really led us to this GrubMarket deal that he was involved in the early days. And I remember him coming to me and saying, "Hey, Kym, I have this great new company I'm helping out. Would you mind, doing something on it on Channel 4 when I was doing weekly segments on Cron 4 in San Francisco?" And I said, "Sure, anything you have your hands in turns to gold. So of course it must be a great company." I did a segment on it. It's still on YouTube. You can look it up. And, fast forward when this company went public, Robert was really there in the early days helping them. They were like, "Oh, hey, yeah, all your help. Wait, who are you? How did you help us?" And they wanted to renege on everything they promised him. But ultimately, he won in the end. And I can say that, Robert. And the company's now worth $3.6 billion and it's publicly traded. And I do attribute a lot of that to, Robert pounding the pavement in the very early days, right, Robert?
Yep, you are right. And I mean, I was always told to do as you say as you do. And I'm very passionate about, making things better. I mean, that's what I just brought up on, and that's what I went into the profession of chiropractic is about do unto others as they would do to you. And I was there for the patient. I wasn't there for myself. If they came in with a problem, my job was to take care of them and find out what was the root cause of why they're coming in, right? Kind of like my heart, right? Why is my heart, you know, being blocked or the arteries being calcified? What's going on? And I attribute it obviously to genetics, but also a little bit to diet. But like going back to giving, that's what I like. That's all I know is just make things great. And if you make things great, people will come and enjoy it. And hopefully, the cream rises to the top. And sometimes, obviously, it doesn't. They say the nice people always finish last, but obviously, in
I
this
don't believe
case,
that. Yeah, I don't believe that,
in
man.
this case, I did okay, and now I'm like enjoying my life. I'm playing lots of pickleball. Coming from the tennis community and the tennis family, I played in college and really enjoyed tennis. And so now that I'm in my 50s, my body doesn't move as fast. So I'm able to enjoy this new sport called pickleball, and I feel like a kid again. So it's great.
Fantastic. And coming up next, right here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Robert Nathanson's story. So stay with us right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away. Okay.
Well done.
I'm going to edit
You want to bring
the,
us back? You want to bring us back, Kym?
sure. I'm going to edit a little bit of that first part to get to because I completely, for some reason, I thought your spur of the moment was like the kind, fun thing. And I thought that was your moment of
I told you
inspiration.
I was going to surprise you. So
I thought you were surprising me for the moment of inspiration, but that was cute. I love it. Did you get one of their t-shirts too, or softest in the world?
I didn't get it. Did I get a T? I don't know. It's just like me and a belt buckle probably don't mesh, but we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
And Robert, was that okay on the Grub Market? I don't know if you want to go into the details on that, or if I kind of covered it for you.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I mean, I was the one that proved the initial concept was it the Hack Cancer event when our buddy did the loop, I think, and I did GrubMarket, remember? And we ordered cherries and they came out in 5 minutes. And I'm like, look at that, you can order cherries on your cell phone.
That's
And
the one I was emceeing, wasn't it?
yeah,
Yes. I remember
so that
that.
was the very beginning that was the beginning of GrubMarket. And then I went out and I validated it. I'm like, this is how big it can be. And so there was just two of us when we started the company.
That's Should we go into a little bit of that? Do you want to start there and then we'll work backwards into um because I want to get into, of course, his health journey and but he's also this great innovator with you have that product that you had the
Ultra
healthiest
Blue.
hair at one point. You have the ultra blue. So you have other, you're always looking for healthier products out there on the market. So he's kind of an inventor. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Let's kind of go
let's
where this
focus more on innovation, and like when you see a need, you just make it. You know,
Yeah.
if you're curious enough and something's not out there or it's not being built, Robbie will build it. Just like this is the new pickleball I invented.
Oh, now he's inventing a pickleball. Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah, I made 60,000 of them and they're great. And they're flying off the shelf.
It's ridiculous. He literally has this magic. I wish I could bottle it. I wish I could have it like rub off on me because I need that marketing prowess.
Well, let's go.
So
Let's talk about that. We're
he's
talking
a
about
genius.
innovation.
I
Go,
know. He's a genius.
go
Okay,
for it.
here we go. In 3, 2. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Heart of Innovation. Today, we have a very special guest, a very special friend of mine, Dr. Robert Nathanson. We go way, 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 way back. We were involved in an organization here in Silicon Valley called Hack Cancer, where a great group of friends, Steve Chen and Anju and Neil, and oh my goodness, we had this great group of people that got together to try and raise money for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And as part of that, we had it was a tech hackathon, and I was one of the hosts of it, and Robert was one of the competitors, and he ended up winning this Hack Cancer hackathon, and it was with GrubMarket. Can you bring us back to that moment of the very earliest times of that company?
Yeah, well, there was just 2 of us that started the company. We wanted to go out and make deliveries faster. And the one thing we were focusing on was farmers markets. And so the first week I went into a farmers market and I asked, how many, pounds of cherries do you sell in a week or a weekend? And, he gave me the number and I said, well, how about I put it on our website and see what we can do? And the first weekend we sold 400 pounds of cherries. And from there, that validated that, wow, there's a need and an ease of ordering something online and having it delivered to your doorstep within 24 to 48 hours. That was kind of like the Amazon of farmers markets. And I'm like, this could be huge. So I really, spent time and energy and focused on that and met every farmer I could meet and say, look, let's put you on our website. So it's kind of cool, but again, I see a problem in nature and try to fix it. Just like with everything else that I've done, with the exception of my heart.
What was the catalyst for you when you went from being a chiropractor, though? You said, I don't want any more of this, and you got into the entrepreneurial world.
Yeah, well, in chiropractic, I mean, there's only so many, people you can see in one day. And I got frustrated with the insurance companies dictating what they were going to pay and what they weren't going to pay. And so there's got to be a better way. At the time, Open Table was going IPO. So I said, why isn't there an open table for doctors? So I went to GoDaddy and got the URL Open Treatment and was able to patent all this cool technology around intake forms and insurance verification. So that's what I did. And I built a company called Open Treatment, went to some hospital groups out of Vegas called Universal Health Services. They have hospitals all over the country and they love the idea so much. We patented something called ER wait times on our application. Obviously, with technology, you need to raise a lot of money, and we just proved that this is something that could be cool. And from there, I learned about software. I'm like, there's something to be said about, treating millions of people in one day or an hour versus one by one. So that's how I got the innovative tick in my head and said, there's a problem, let's make it better.
And so after that, where did you move? I mean, you're just inventing things, one thing after another in your life, in your career. You even ended up helping to bring to market the world's healthiest beer, if there is such a thing.
Right. I mean,
Now I'm interested. You got me.
people drink
That was
beer, and especially like during the time when we did it was pre-pandemic. But I think that people are going to drink no matter what, and during bad times in life they drink more. So I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity. But more importantly, I'm like, what can we do to have a low glycemic index beer that's actually not bad for you, but is a little bit more healthy? So what we did was we did a lemon infused lager. We lowered the calories to 92 calories and upped the percentage of alcohol to 4.2% and just made it really taste great, like summer in a can. And that was called Palmia. We got into 5 states and I built it as big as I could. And like, what else is needed out there? And that's when I came up with Ultra Blue, which was a sanitizer and charges your phone at the same time. And I got a patent on that, and that was really cool. That was during COVID.
And coming up
And
here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to hear more of Dr. Robert Nathanson's incredible entrepreneurial journey, all of his inventions, but also the twists and turns with his health crisis that led him to an award-winning effort to get back to health. So stay with us right here on the Heart of Innovation. Don't go away.
I'm just
Okay.
listening. I'm just
I
listening.
know, isn't it? I told you, he's like one of the most fascinating people I know. I just adore him.
I do need to
So
get, we probably, what does that mean? -1. So Josh, do we have an, do
You
we,
saved a minute in that
we
segment.
saved a minute? Oh, okay, good. So we're on segment 3 now. Okay.
yeah, that beer was actually, I mean, it was really good. It shocked me. He made me try it on air. And
Reminds me of a line, like a summer shandy in line.
Yeah.
or a
Yeah.
Corona with lime
Yeah.
but
already
healthy.
in the bottle.
Let's do it.
So,
So, Robert, do you mind if we talk about, your coronary artery? It sounds like you have coronary artery disease.
yeah, my LAD was 85% blocked.
Okay.
And I was in New York and I'm like, something's not right. And came
Let's talk
back and
about
did a
that.
stress test and they
All right.
said, come in tomorrow.
Good. Shall we?
We shall.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I was thinking, Kym, you do a much better intro than I do, and a bring back and an exit. So I've really got to step up my game. But nonetheless, as I digress, we're having a fantastic conversation with what sounds like one of Kym's great friends, Robert Nathanson. And so, Robert, tell me. Obviously, you're an inventor. You're inspired, but you also have coronary artery disease. Tell us about what kind of symptoms you were having and what led you to believe, like, hey, something's not right. I need to get this checked out, and that whole journey.
Yeah, I was traveling to New York and I just felt something not right. When I was walking, obviously I had a backpack on, which was a little bit stressful on my back, and I was carrying some luggage. And I guess that's the first line of a stress test because my doctors always said, like, every time you play tennis or every time you're active, that's a good stress test. But this, I wasn't doing anything overly stressful, and I felt something that was just off, especially in the left area of my chest. And when I landed, and I think I was fine. And then again, I was walking, and just something didn't feel right. So I immediately took 2 children's aspirin as a precaution. And when I came home, I did a stress test with my doctor, my dad's doctor, who's also has a few stents in his heart. I said, okay, thanks a lot, Dad. Look like this might be somewhat genetic as well. Anyways, long story short, I did a stress test and they did an EKG on me and said, yeah, something doesn't look right. Let's have you come in tomorrow. We'll do an angioplasty or angiogram and find out if you actually need a stent. They looked in there, it was 85% blocked. And they took images and then they put the stent in, they took more images and said, all right, we're done. And that whole process was about 20 minutes, which was just like, the technology today is incredible because I was in and out and I felt like, all right, I'm great. I can go home now. And they're like, no, you gotta stay overnight just to monitor you. And since then I've been feeling great. I've been eating probably a little better, less red meat, which the doctor told me to do. And he put me on a statin. And besides that, I've been just playing more pickleball because they said, as long as you keep exercising.
But you were always an avid exerciser. Did you know prior to this that did you have any indication that you had heart disease? Or is this something that you were keeping an eye on basically because you knew your dad had it? And then along with that, did your dad get diagnosed when he was in his 50s?
No, my dad's first diagnosis, I think, was, just feeling something off. And so, and unfortunately in heart disease or having a heart attack or something happening, the first line is symptoms, right? So like in your car, if a red light goes on, you want to get it checked. So obviously for me, the best thing to do was to get checked immediately. And thankfully I came in early enough. And they were able to,
But did you know did you know you had heart disease before that, or that was your first indication?
no, I mean,
See,
I
that's
thought,
really rare. That's rare, isn't it, Dr. Phillips? That I mean, he notices there's something and he goes straight to a cardiologist and says, "Hey, something's not right here."
Well, I mean, there's a couple of things because if I heard you correctly, Robert, you exercised regularly. I've had several patients. In fact, I had one in my CrossFit gym who's a great guy. Like he was doing CrossFit with us, which is really intense. I mean, your heart rate's going up, and I mean, you're kind of pushing yourself to the limit sometimes. He didn't have symptoms then. He had them when he was swimming, which a lot of us, and I always say this to our patients, like not everybody reads our textbooks in the setting of, hey, you're going to have, substernal chest discomfort that radiates through your jaw and down your arm that goes away with rest or whatever. But the fact that he knew something wasn't right, was able to get to a medical professional who then took the next steps. Did it save his life? I don't know, but nonetheless, it sounds like it was done. He got excellent care and he's doing well. And I will say one more thing, and if I'm hearing you correctly as well, Robert, you changed your lifestyle a little bit, and that is really key. And that's something we always try to, impart upon our listeners. You have a diagnosis of something. This is a progressive disease. You have to change what you're doing, even if it's small steps, eating differently, exercising more regularly, taking your medication, stop smoking, all that good stuff. And so kudos to you for continuing, to kind of live that lifestyle.
yeah, thank you. I mean, you got to change. I mean, if you don't change, you're going to go down the same path.
Mm-hmm.
And was your dad diagnosed in his 50s, or was that later when he discovered his?
I think he was in his 60s. So
Okay, so
I
fairly
got
young
lucky and I don't know why.
and caught it early. But
Yeah.
it seems the biggest factor for you, because I always knew you playing tennis all the time, all the time. Really for you was at that point, you said it was diet that it came down to for you, but also does high cholesterol run in your family? Is that one of the issues?
Yeah, my mom definitely has the side of the heart disease and dad. And so thanks to both of them. They gave me this genetic pool of this is what's going to happen. So you might want to, eat a little bit more on the vegetarian side because I do have a sister and she's actually fine.
And so once you ended up, getting fixed, all fixed up, you got out of the hospital. At what point did you double down on exercise? And we already know you changed your diet, but doubling down on exercise and switching from tennis, what you played a few times a week, to literally going full blown into pickleball. And I think you play every day and you compete even at a national level with it.
Yeah, like I didn't skip a beat and I got introduced to pickleball and I thought this is where tennis players go to die and it's actually it's actually a lot of fun and doubles can be a little bit more strategic, but I love singles and singles is the best workout. I mean, you just come dripping sweat and your heart's, up there, past 150 beats per minute because I'm like at times like I need to take a quick breath. But yeah, it's great. It's fun. I love it. I'm traveling all over the country playing this great sport. I got now sponsorships wanting to give me stuff. And I think in my age group, they just want, more people to enjoy the sport. And it's a huge sport. It's like 58 million players in the United States and it's growing 50% year over year. So it's here to stay. I think it's now accepted in the Olympics and high schools and colleges are now playing it. So
I don't know,
great
but we
sport.
see Dr. Robert Nathanson playing in the Olympics for pickleball. Find out next, right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away. Even if it's a little disappointment, we don't mind. But we might see you in the
Let's keep
Olympics.
talking. Let's keep talking about pickleball.
I know.
That's
Because
awesome.
we can tie in his inventions and stuff into there. He's still continuing with his entrepreneurial spirit. But I'm also curious about, he's doubled down on his exercise, and I'm curious about the health of his heart,
Yeah.
following that.
Because this is our fourth segment, so we're on third base here. All right.
Ready.
Ready? 3, 2, 1. So we're back and we're talking pickleball, which is a sport that is new to me, but very interesting. And like you said, Robert, upwards of 60 million people are playing it. So now Kym wants to get into your inventions, and we got to get into how your heart's doing. But let's get serious. What is pickleball, and how did you get involved in it, as opposed to just saying, I'm just going to keep playing tennis.
Well, pickleball is a smaller court of tennis. In my humble opinion, it's tennis just in a smaller court. But if you play ping pong, if you played other hand-eye coordination sports, you'll be better at it. And it's made with you play with a wiffle ball like this.
Now,
This
what's
is
special about your wiffle ball?
This is actually one of the wiffle balls that I invented because I just didn't like all these other balls that were in the market. Here's one by Franklin, but as you can see, it's just destroyed. So these balls, they crack easily, they lose the shape easily. And I got to make a ball that's not going to crack and not lose its shape.
Now,
So
you always have to make sure when you invent something, it has to meet the specs of
100%.
of the major league, right? So you got the specs, and you were able to create something around that.
Yeah, no, I went to the USA Pickleball approved certified manufacturing plant and I said, I want to make a better ball. And I got the resources to, help you and let's try to make something better because what's out there now is not very good. So I created this called the Airbender Pro. and I reached out to a bunch of my buddies now that play and I'm like, wait, I need a good name for the ball. And so I was like, Pro Drive, Pro, everything Smash. And there one guy said, I like Airbender. So I went and trademarked the name and made samples and went through like 4 iterations of samples before I said, this is the one that's perfect. And like I said, it meets all the criteria for USA Pickleball, which is an organization, and it's certified, and we're now selling them, and people love them.
How do you buy this ball?
You can buy it on our website at getAirbenderPro.com, or it's sold on Walmart.com or Amazon.com. Or today we just put it in the Brad Gilbert shop in Corte Madera or near Corte Madera. He's got his own tennis shop with now pickleball. And Brad Gilbert is an idol of mine and from tennis days. And I met him and his wife, and they're like, of course, we'd love to have your ball. It sounds like a great ball. And I gave them samples, and they're like, yeah, this is fantastic.
Now, is this something that we're gonna see as the official ball of USA Pickleball at some point?
I sure hope so. I mean, I've reached out to him. I said, this is the ball you want to play with. So there's different organizations called the APP, the PPA, and all these other, but those are the 2 biggest ones. And actually, I've played a few tournaments in the PPA, which is the Pro Tour. And I played what's called the Masters, which was in Palm Springs. And I won the Triple Crown, which is the biggest title you could win in pickleball, which is awesome. I was playing right next to Ann-Lee Waters, Ben Johns, which are all top, the number 1 in the world. Obviously, I played in the senior division. And it's so much fun. And they just did a new study that if you play a pickleball or any, sport that involves a racket, you'll live 10 years longer. So I'm like, sign me up.
Well, so that was
play pickleball like Forrest Gump plays ping pong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but that motivates you because of your coronary artery disease,
100%.
which we know is a progressive disease, to push it back up against the wall and keep fighting. And that is what I think is really important to emphasize to our listeners. Just because you have this diagnosis doesn't mean you throw the towel in. In fact, you get your towel soaked with your sweat because you're working so hard playing pickleball, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's like just the drive, and in life you have to have drive to live. And I don't have kids, so my drive is, my niece and my nephew, my sister, and pickleball. And obviously all the important people in my life. I got engaged, and so it's just all about giving back to community and living your life the fullest you can, eating right, playing a sport that you enjoy, and if it makes you feel good with all those endorphins, keep playing.
And it seems our YouTube producer, I love what he says in chat, competition is the king of longevity. I think that that's definitely true in your case. And he's wondering about what's next for you in terms of inventing. Is it the racket? Is it the shoe technology? What are we looking at for you to continue to turn this sport into something that is going to be the next big thing?
The next big thing, well, I did invent a new polarized sunglass, and that comes out next week. And it's incredible because what you see is obviously important. And I love, like I said, I love seeing a problem, and I'm curious enough
So
to make it a change.
let's talk about that a little bit. So a lot of people, I'm one of them, you get an idea, right? And talk is cheap. So you take things pretty quickly to the next level. Now, I don't know if you have the capacity to actually make a pickleball or sunglasses, but you must be connected with people that can kind of get you to where you need to be, and obviously that takes some funding. But so walk us through, like, okay, you had the idea to have new polarized sunglasses. Like, how do you get from step point A to point Z? Because there's a lot of, you got to connect those dots, right?
Yeah, well, the most important thing is curiosity, right? You got to be curious on how things work. And when you do that, you research it, and you research what things are made out of, and what kind of molds are needed to create it. And obviously, yeah, there are already, people making sunglasses, so the molds already exist. But now what about the materials? What materials are they using? Are they using the highest grade polymers or polyethylene? What goes into a sunglass or a pickleball that is, makes it a pickleball? And what makes it weak? What makes it strong? So you got to obviously go through a lot of testing, and that's what I did with both the sunglasses and the pickleball, and with this other device, which is a sanitizer with the UV lights. I think the most important thing is to really research and see what's already been built, what's already out there. Because if you're going to create something, you got to create something a little different, right? You got to make it what makes it so unique. And so if you make something unique and people want it, I think it'll do okay.
Have you had some great mentors though that are inventors that have taught you the ropes? Because you have to know where how to even get started and the right questions to ask, and just even knowing that you need to find the molds that are out there and available, that's not knowledge for everybody.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, again, thanks to my father and my mother, my dad was an entrepreneur as well and created jeans back in the 60s and 70s, and kind of turned the name Stonewash. And he made millions of pairs of jeans. Even the Gap said, "Look, we sell Levi's. I understand you're manufacturing Levi's. Can you make us a jean?" The Gap, here, there in San Francisco. My dad's like, "Of course I can." And so he manufactured Gap's first jean. And with that being said, as you know, Maurice Kambar was a neighbor of mine, and he had 55 patents, of which more of them flopped than not, but one did okay, and it was Sky Vodka. And he wanted to invent a vodka that didn't give people headaches. And so he researched vodka and what was causing people to have headaches, and did it. And he was called Congeners. And so he taught me a lot about lessons of entrepreneurship.
And speaking of Maurice Kambar, he also created the lint remover. So if you've ever had one of those little lint removers that you
Yeah.
use,
Oh, really?
that
The
was
thing
that
you
was his.
roll?
Yeah, I have one
That's
of his
pretty
original.
sweet.
So it's pretty incredible. Coming up right here on the Heart of Innovation. This is such a fun conversation. So blessed to have Dr. Robert Nathanson here with us. Stay with us for the rest of the story. Don't go away.
Paul Harvey.
Yeah.
Remember him. That's great. For the rest of the story. Okay, so this is really short. This is only 4 minutes. Um, we should probably do a double check in on the heart
Yep.
what his last thing was. Robert, is there anything we kind of missed in the conversation that you want to tackle? We have literally 4 minutes. Websites people can go to find your products or to follow you, or what's next in your pickleballing?
Um, yeah, they can like follow me on my Instagram stories, which is, public, shows you like what I'm doing, what I'm, how I'm getting healthier, and with all my obviously pickleball pictures and where I'm traveling next to. Um, but yeah, I think, it's all about prevention, is in terms of like, I don't want any more symptoms. So how do I prevent that from happening?
Sweet.
Good. Okay.
We got it. Ready? 3, 2, 1. So, unfortunately, this wonderful conversation has to end. We have about 4 minutes left with Robert. And during the break, we were just talking about, your motivation to stay healthy. Obviously, pickleball plays a large role in that. But you talked about prevention. Like you said, I don't. It sounds like you got one stent, and one stent is enough. What are you going to do moving forward that is going to help prevent you from having more procedures or more symptoms? Because you said you don't like having symptoms. You're doing everything you can. Are you gonna invent a new drug for us or a new stent or
Oh,
something?
there you go. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. What do you think,
Yeah,
Robert?
no. I think the number one killer in the United States is stress. And to prevent me from having any stresses, I've got to do things that I love to do. And
Amen.
by doing that, I think that is the number one reason why people have a lot of the problems that they have is they have too much stress in their life, whether it be physical stress, emotional stress, financial stress, chemical stress, environmental stress. If you can limit that, I think you can live a longer life. So yeah, I'm trying to cut back sugar and red meat. And right now, I mean, again, before you have symptoms, you feel great. I feel great now, and I want to continue to stay great. So I'm gonna do everything I can to keep going.
Have you had a CT angiogram or any other extensive diagnostic since you had the angiogram, since you've doubled down on pickleball and you're sweating away out there on the court winning all of these competitions?
No, I go in every now once a year to see my doctor, and he looks at my heart and looks at my weight and makes sure that, my weight is under control. And he says I still would like to lose a few weight pounds, but I do enjoy, seconds. Um, but yeah, I wanna live as long as I can. So I think exercise and diet is up there.
Well, life's all about moderation, so seconds are okay, just smaller portions. But what's the next? So tell me about your sunglasses. When can we where can we find these?
So
And your name.
they're on my website, getairbenderpro.com. They're available now, but I'm now also inventing a new case for them so that they fit, beautifully. And but yeah, the sunglasses are available now, and everyone who puts them on says they're the best sunglasses they've ever worn, which is for
So
me
what is so
is
special about them? What is special about this polarization versus others? I know I do have some trouble sometimes.
so
Um,
when you play a sport, you don't have the whole periphery of the vision. You can see the sun, you can see uh the, what the frames or whatever. With this, it just looks like you're looking out a window.
Are these specific for pickleball or just in general?
No, it's specific for life, just to enjoy.
Nice.
But they're super lightweight and they don't fall off your head. And I mean, I would just say recommend trying them. I mean, the price was right. If you don't like them, I'll send you another pair or send you some pickleballs so you can like play
Nice.
pickleball.
he stands behind his products, definitely.
So,
So
real quick, can I just ask you? I know that pickleball folks are very passionate. Like, what is the craziest interaction you've had with an opponent where no, it was out, but no, I think the ball was in? Like, did anyone throw their paddle at you or come after you or anything like that?
No, with me, it's either in or out, and most of the time they don't make the point. So they're very good at being, cordial with me.
Acquiesce. Gotcha. All right. Good.
So as we end up running out of time here, where can they follow you on Instagram stories?
On my personal Instagram is my name, Robert Nathanson SF, and the Instagram of the website is just at Airbender Pro. And I'm Robert Nathanson, and it's been a great pleasure having me on your show. And hopefully we can do this again with some more cool stuff.
We would love that. We would love to
Definitely.
have you back. You're incredible. We really appreciate you, Dr. Robert Nathanson. Thank you so much. We wish you the best and keep us up to date on your next big achievements and